Okay. Ariel Helwani. I don't know if you guys saw, but Brandrisk 14 by Aiden Ross took place on the weekend. And I'm going to be honest, it wasn't that bad. The only problem I'd said I have with it was the timing. It started at 8 p.m. my time, which means it would have started at 11 p.m. Eastern, and just worse and not worse and worse, but just later and later from there. You know what I'm saying? So, I think the timing was a bit rough, but it is what it is. Whatever. But I just want to talk about the event quickly, and also if I can get to the stupid card. Holy piss. But also what the heck Ariel Helwani's saying, and okay. First off, let's just hear what Ariel Helwani has to say, bro. Like straight up.
The only
Hold up. Let's see what Ariel Helwani has to say here.
MMA that happened to happen this past weekend of note happened at the Apex, yes, but it was trash. It was absolute trash. And the audacity of these people to tell us that what transpired at the Intuit Dome 9 or so days ago set the sport back, and now the home of the UFC is putting on absolute dog shit trash, and then telling us afterwards, oh, it's great, it's authentic, it's not manufactured. And then you've got Dana White and Hunter Campbell up there be like, this is so great, this is so great. It was like, whoa, what was that? Was that like bum fights? What was that? That was not even influencer fights. At least in the influencer fights, they show up like somewhat, ripped, probably juiced up, but they've got abs. This was trash. And it was happening at the place where UFC fighters fight? What? So what do you want me to talk about? You want me to talk about that? You want me to have Johnny Manziel on the program to talk about his fight against Bob Menery? All of a sudden, who the fuck is Bob Menery? Like, what is his claim to fame? Why do I keep hearing about this guy? Why do I care about this guy? I don't know. I know who Lance Stevenson is and Beasley. I know who those guys are. It was trash.
And Ray J. Shout out Ray J.
Ray J.
Okay, basically, just hating on the event, saying it's trash, this and that. Listen, man. And then he compares, I don't know, I guess maybe people are, I don't know if people are, I haven't seen people comparing it, but he compares it to the MVP card and being like, oh, everyone says the MVP card sucked and this card was great. Listen, me personally, if this was on the same night, listen, I watched UFC last weekend or 2 weeks ago, the Alan Costa card, and I didn't watch the MVP card. And then even after the UFC ended, I still didn't even really want to even watch the top fights of the MVP card. I caught a bit of the Francis fight, which was only one round, and then I caught the Nate Diaz fight, and I didn't even watch the Ronda Rousey card, bro, the Ronda Rousey main event, because I didn't care. And there was nothing else going on at the time when those fights were happening, and I still didn't watch them. I would rather watch this Brandrisk card or any Brandrisk card, honestly. Because Brandrisk, he says, oh, it's authentic. It is! It's like, and he's talking about, like, misfits fighters or influencer fighters coming in juiced up and jacked. They're not all juiced up and jacked. Guys come in fat and tubby. So I don't know. He's just, I feel like he's coping over, because he's paid by MVP to work for their event. So he has to stand by them and, say their event's great. If he was paid by Brandrisk, I'm pretty sure he would say this event's really good and this and that, but since he's not paid by Brandrisk, he's going to hate on it because people are saying this isn't as good as MVP, I guess. So he has to obviously stand up for MVP, so I get why he's doing it, but like, this is authentic. It's just guys getting in there to scrap, and it's funny. I was laughing. It was entertaining. I was locked in on these fights, and it was just good overall. And then he gets mad that it's at the Apex. It's like, there's no fights going on. The Apex was a variable. Aiden Ross is friends with Dana, Hunter, Bob's in the thing, and Dana likes Bob. So it's like, it all just worked out perfectly. If there was UFC fights going on, he wouldn't have gotten the Meta Apex at the time. It was the fact it was open and available, and Aiden's cool with Dana. And Ariel, I feel like, is also just mad because he doesn't like Dana and Dana doesn't like him. So he's just mad and complaining that they're backing this and not backing MVP. It's like, yeah, MVP. And then he says something. There was another thing, and he was saying something about these are, or it was something, man. But it's like, these guys are fighting, and Aiden's just putting on fun fights for the Kick stream. It's free on Kick, right? He's just putting on entertaining fights. And so they're trash, It is what it is. Aiden's not trying to do all that, right? But then he gets mad that people don't like the MVP cards because the MVP card's saying we're a competitor. We're the next MMA promotion, right? We're putting on this big card and showing how good we are. And so they're claiming they're all this high top tier stuff, and then it doesn't deliver. The Brandrisk card isn't claiming they're the best ever, and they're still delivering. And so I just want to go over the card low key real quick time and talk about go through the fights really quick. Dude. Okay, this first fight, boom. Britton Norwood got slimed out. Crazy knockout. Entertaining. This fight I missed, to be honest. I missed this one. AP the Fighter, Ethan Stern. Dude, I like AP the Fighter. He's very, very good. Dude, Ethan Stern was a dog, and it was close. I didn't agree with the scorecards, but that was a really good boxing match. Very entertaining. I really liked that one. It was very, very good. Very high level, honestly. It wasn't just some bums in there, to be honest. It was actually a high level and good. Gabe Silva versus Malcolm Peck. Gabe got cut in the first round, which kind of sucked that he had to deal with that for the next couple rounds. But it was a draw. I did think it was a draw. But yeah, that's that. I didn't watch this one, to be honest, as well. To be honest, I missed this one. But then we got to the MMA fights, and the MMA fights were fire, dude. Dom the Troll versus Tommy Tough Knuckles. Now, I like Tommy Tough Knuckles, so I was kind of rooting for Tommy Tough Knuckles. But Dom the Troll submits him, bro, really quick. And it's, like, not even, like, good submission. That's why it's entertaining, bro. That's why it's entertaining, because these guys don't know what they're doing, and so anything can finish the fight. Jeremy Smith, he was supposed to fight the Island Boy. The Island Boy pulled out, but, he fought Ryder Warbrick. Dude, that was entertaining too, bro. Jeremy Smith got some grappling. For a guy who was only boxing on a Brandrisk, and then he comes in an MMA fight and he starts, like, doing some good grappling and wrestling and stuff, dude. He was very good. And it was an entertaining fight, too. That's the other thing. I was locked in on two little people fighting each other in the Meta Apex over the biggest MMA card to ever touch the earth, Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. I didn't even watch it, and I was locked in on two little people, Jeremy Smith and Ryder Warbrick, in the Apex, opposed to the Intuit Dome. So, like, yeah. No Neck Jay versus Shane Chance, dude. Shane Chance looks like Diddy. That's hilarious. No Neck Jay, dude. Literally no, dude. This was entertaining too. Now, their butt crack was hanging out half the fight and all that, right? But, yeah, No Neck Jay got the dub. TKO, man, and it was entertaining as well. But these top three fights, dude. These top three fights. Ray J versus Super Hot Fire. Banger. Banger. Knockout. Now, Super Hot Fire was trolling in there. Apparently, they had some kind of deal or plan on how the fight was going to go. It is what it is, you know. But Ray J got slimed, dude. Super Hot Fire hit him with one good shot, and Ray J was frozen in time and got dropped, and it was done. Super Hot Fire beat him, bro. Clean. Crazy good fight. Michael Beasley versus Lance Stevenson. I picked Michael Beasley to win, man. And if he had any wrestling or jiu-jitsu, he would have gotten that guillotine because it's low level and not high level. So it's low level where a guillotine would work. But I don't think he really knew how to do it, and so he wasn't able to get the guillotine. And Lance Stevens just starts getting out of the guillotine and wraps his arms around his neck. He's like half on Beasley, and he just submits him. So that was a banger too. That was very entertaining. These guys, and Michael Beasley, I think, is 6'9", and Lance Stevenson's like 6'5". So there was like crazy height in there too. So that was an entertaining one too. I was pretty hyped. That one was pretty sick. And then even Johnny Manziel versus Bob Menery. Dude, just Johnny had some good kicks coming out. And Bob looked like he was zapped up. And they were both kind of going a little crazy. And Bob threw a little couple punches. Johnny like whiffed a punch and missed. And Bob went and swung and missed. And then Johnny took him down, had him mounted. And, you know, it would have been sick to see a second round. But there was still, I think, 40 seconds left in the round. And Menery was in a really bad position. So I get why they stopped it, but it would have been sick to see a second round back on the feet. But I'm just saying, dude. Manziel, Menery, Beasley, Stevenson, Ray J, Super Hot Fire. Those were top 3 banger fights. Better than Francis KOing Nakan. Better than Nate Diaz holding the side of the cage and throwing a kick because he can't hold himself up. And better than Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano main event. So these top 3 fights were better than those 3, I'd say. I like Francis, though. I do like Francis, but he was fighting Nakan. That's the problem. And then even just like the No Neck Jay, he was sick. Jeremy Stevens, sick. And the Dom the Troll Tommy Tough Knuckles. It was a quick fight, but it was entertaining. Gabe Silva and the Malcolm Peck, AP the Fighter, and Ethan Stern. Those were 2 really good fights. And then the Britain Northwood got slimed out. So it's like, I think this was a pretty sick card. And Ariel's on here. Steamed up to the very top of his, I don't know, man. Just like, what is he doing? Like, they're putting on dog shit main event? And he's like claiming the UFC is putting these fights on. It's like, they got to use the arena. And Dana was there and Hunter was there. So, yeah, they showed up to watch some fights, but it's not, the UFC didn't put the fights on. So it's like, he's just trying to find a way to hate on it because he's not getting paid by them. He's getting paid by MVP, so he's going to glaze the MVP card. And then this is also from Ariel, and Ariel literally watches WWE and literally gets WWE actors on his show acting like, dude, I'm going to be fighting for the title next, man. I'm going to be fighting for the WWE title next, man. You know, it's written in the script. It's like totally not just me being a good wrestler, man. It's written in the script. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys literally get written in to win the title, lose the title, win this match, lose this match. Where, like, you know what I'm saying? These guys are fighting for real. But Ariel, Brandrisk is putting on these events and they're doing it in the Apex, and this is like dog shit fights. Yeah, well, he literally watches and interviews WWE guys who literally act for a living, and he acts like it's real. Like, what? What are we doing, bruh? Anyway, I just saw that about Ariel, and I was like, dude, there's no way this guy's literally trying to find a way to hate on Brandrisk. Like, he just needs to find a reason to hate on it. It's because Dana White was at the event and commentated the main event, so there's something there, so he can hate on it. And he's just mad because what he's getting paid by, he has to stand and back the MVP MMA because they're paying him, and it was getting hated on, so he had to find a way to hate on this and compare it to his. He had to compare a Kickstream boxing / MMA event to a Netflix $1 million MMA card. That's how pressed he is. He had to compare a Kickstream to a Netflix event. So whatever floats your boat, bro. But yeah, Ariel Helwani, I'm not a big fan of him, to be honest. In general, I don't watch his stuff. I honestly think like Bedtime MMA, Lucas Tracy. I think those guys are better and more entertaining MMA journalists. Where Ariel Helwani is very, very, very unwatchable and annoying to listen to. So that's just me personally, man. Yeah, that's just what I want to say, because Ariel is like tripping out right now, but it is what it is, man. Appreciate y'all. Just want to talk about that real quick. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.